Hi, I'm Eric Dewey.
And this is Steve O'Mooney.
And I'm Matthew Renfro.
And we're Socially Awkward. You're listening to another great production on the Four-Eyed Radio Network. Check out more shows at foureyedradio.com.
Hey listeners, Eric here, also known as Trekkie B47, from the Starfleet Escape Podcast and the Ranger Command Power Hour. The more phenomenal episode you're about to listen to is brought to you by Raven Designs, illustration and design that fit your personality. For samples and inquiries, visit ravencruise.com.
Hey, what's happening, guys? Another week. Welcome to Appropriately Inappropriate. Thank you for coming back to listen. If this is your first time, thank you for taking a listen. And what the show is it's a comedy podcast where we talk a lot about comedy. I'm Kevin Elliott, and I'm one of your hosts. Our other host, Nancy, is actually not here. Again, she vacations more than anybody I know, way more than a touring comic, and she's not a touring comic. But what we do here is we talk comedy. We kind of give you the inside perspective of what it's like to be a comic, the processes of what we do, and I usually bring in a comic friend of mine every week to talk about stuff, them, and what's been going on. And this week is no different. I actually have a guest in that was here pretty recently, but him and I took a little trip out to California to do some stand-up, so I wanted him to come in so we can kind of share the stories and experiences with y'all. So please, everybody, welcome Mr. Rob Maybe.
Hello.
What's up, my man?
I'm feeling fantastic.
Woo!
It's been a great week, great month. Turning out
Great month of June, 2013,
Yeah.
14.
2014.
Stupid.
Dude, I'm still writing it on things. And I don't even write like anything.
I don't even write.
But if I wrote the date, it would be 2014.
So cool, man. You've had a good month. You have a great month, man. You've been on this hot streak of murder. You're coming in your own.
Yeah,
and it's awesome to see.
It's all going to fail one day.
Nah, dude, it definitely won't. You're doing really, really well.
Yeah.
Which is good. I mean, you got that 1 year mark.
Boom.
And it's gotten easier for you, right?
Yeah, once that happened, once I got past a little milestone, now it feels, I don't think of myself as that like new comic anymore. I'm just like, I'm the guy that does comedy all the time.
That's a good feeling.
Yeah, it feels fantastic.
You can tell every time I see you, your act it's just genuine. And it's original stuff, too. So it's not like the regular hissy jokes that I do.
I'm going to start doing more like Take My Wife Please type stuff.
So thank you for coming in.
Oh, no problem.
We went to California, Los Angeles specifically, and we went with another comedian, Mike Dapper, who couldn't be with us. Rest in peace.
Yeah, died from a hangnail.
Yeah. That damn hangnail.
I got one like a week after we got back, and I texted him, and I was like, "I'm sorry for giving you so much shit about it," because I feel like it was karma. Like, who
was the girl that hit it, and he like almost cried?
Oh, the girl at Denny's. She was handing him his drink, and he was like, "Ah," oh. She was like, "What?" And he was like, "I have a hangnail." Like, it was the worst thing ever.
All right, well, Mike Dapper's not dead. He's alive. He just couldn't make it to record the podcast. We went out to L.A. We had a little bit of both, of book shows, and then we just tried to jump on mics when we didn't have a booked show. We took off on a Sunday.
We did.
And, man, let's just break down the trip from the beginning. I show up at Rob's place. There's a woman in the dumpster.
Yeah. my apartment is not the what is the word? It's not the picturesque version of like suburbia. It's more of like the worst part of downtown Phoenix.
No, it's
but
not.
I love
it's
it.
Not.
It looks like a mental asylum.
Yeah, it just happened to be this woman jumping in and out of dumpsters along the street.
Yeah, she was trying to find gold or something. I don't know what it was.
She looked like she was, like it wasn't for food.
It looked like she was trying to find teeth to me. She only had like 3 of them, but. It's actually a really quiet neighborhood, so I don't care.
Yeah.
It's spacious apartments, cheap rent, which I need.
It was a good start to the trip.
Yeah, it was. It kind of set the tone, actually.
No matter how bad it gets, we're not going to be like that. So It's good, man. So we drive out there. It's like a 5.5, 6 hour drive. I think we made it in 5.
Yeah.
Because I drive like 150
With
miles an hour.
us stopping at Subway and getting food on the way.
Dude, we made like, I don't like stopping.
Yeah, I do.
But Rob sure does. We stopped like 3 or 4 times, which to me is a lot.
Yeah.
We stopped. We were driving like 20 minutes, and you're like, dude, let's stop and get food. Did you guys eat? We're like, yeah, we did eat. You're like, oh, well, shit, I didn't.
Well, nobody told me, hey, eat before we leave. And Mike got to my house, and he had McDonald's while we were waiting for you, and he was like, do you want a McGriddle? And I was like, no, I'll just get something once we hit the road. And then he didn't say, like, no, got to eat now. We discussed it without you. So we started driving, and I'm like, oh, man, I'm starving. And we stopped at Subway, which turns out to be a big part of the L.A. experience. Like, we stopped at Subway in Arizona still. But L.A. has 24-hour subways every 255 feet, it seemed like, at least down Sunset.
Yeah. No, it was fucking everywhere.
We went to Santa Monica, and they had subways everywhere.
There is an abundance. Like, there's Starbucks everywhere, or like usually around the country. Dude, L.A., there is subways on every corner.
Yeah.
24 hours. Like,
they're all 24 hours, too, and the people working it hate you. Like, we went in at one point, and this girl was just giving me the dirty look, and then some old guy was hollering at this other girl that was standing behind me. She was a customer, and he was just like, oh, aren't you Tina Turner, or whatever he said.
Oh, yeah.
It was so weird.
Dude, we were. All right, so we'll jump ahead, because I think that was the last night that we were there. We were leaving in the morning. It was like 3 in the morning. And we'll get to the whole story of that night. That was the best night.
Yeah, let's start from the trip up. So
all right, so we'll get to that. We get there, we got a hotel because my sister wouldn't let us stay at her house, and then none of my friends would let us stay at their house because they're not nice people. They don't want to be a part of the journey. So we got a hotel. When I looked at the hotel online, I've made this mistake before. When I was booking a hotel in San Francisco, it showed this picture. And I was like, that's an awesome hotel, dude. I'm definitely staying there. But I didn't know it was a picture of the Transamerica building, which is not a hotel.
Not at all.
No, I was right in the middle of Chinatown, which actually is a great location in San Francisco, but a weird hotel to stay at.
Yeah.
It smells like Chinese food all the time.
That sounds amazing to me, though.
And you can't go out at night.
Well, that doesn't sound so amazing.
But this hotel, look, I'm not saying it looked great, especially for the cost of it, but the picture didn't do it justice in a negative way. We got there, man, and it was like maybe 10 rooms. Yeah. All outside. I mean, obviously the room was inside, but, you know, the outdoor kind of motel-y style.
Yeah. 2 stories.
Yeah, 2 stories. It wasn't called a motel.
No.
But it was less than a motel standard.
Yeah. Like, motels look down on it.
Especially, I think it took us 2 days to figure out there was a hole in the middle of our floor.
That's what I was going to ask you. We noticed right away, that it didn't have a fire alarm. The little smoke detector had been ripped out of the wall.
Yeah.
And it was just like wires hanging where the battery would normally connect to it. But we didn't notice that right in the center between the 2 beds, there was a hole in the ground, covered by carpet. Like,
yeah, just
dirty carpet. Like, but we'll get to that. So we get there, we put our stuff away.
And then you use the bathroom first. Tell me about the little toilet situation.
Oh, okay. This toilet is, I don't know if NASA's like testing toilets in there or something. I've never seen a toilet with so much suction. It reminds me of the old like Married with Children episodes where Al finally gets his dream toilet. Like, I wanted to put a toaster in there and see if it could suck it down. I think it can. Like, I was afraid to accidentally flush the toilet while sitting on it because I was afraid of eternal like bleeding or something.
It was the cure of constipation. If you couldn't go, just flush the toilet, suck it out of your ass. Dude, it was incredible.
It was like the Flowbee of toilets. Like, you just sit on it and you don't have to do any of the work. The vacuum takes care of everything. But it was amazing. That was probably my favorite part of that bathroom, and the fact that the shower, the water was super hot. Like,
yeah, and the view from that window.
Yeah, right at the Shakey's.
Yeah,
we had a little window, which I think when we got in there into the hotel was already open. But I think it was to air out the dead body smell or something. But like, there was a Shakey's across the street, and that's all you could see. And somebody had graffitied our window, like our own bathroom window, on the inside. And I don't know if the hotel was just like, screw it, we're just going to leave it.
They probably did it.
Yeah, they were like marking their own territory.
And then, so Shakey's is this cool little pizza place in California, and Rob the whole time was like, we gotta eat at Shakey's, dude, this is awesome. It was literally right next door, 10 feet from our hotel, and we never went there.
No, we went to a separate pizza place that wasn't Shakey's at one point, but we never went to Shakey's.
Never. So all right. We put our stuff in the hotel, 2 beds, 3 guys. We're adults.
Yeah.
We're not bunking up in beds. And we'll get to how we figured out who was sleeping in beds. Because
awesome.
that comes to the end of the first night, so Sunday night. We put our stuff away, and we get settled, get dressed, because we had a show in Universal City at Universal Bar and Grill, which is this cool little bar that they do 3 shows every Sunday night. And shout out to Chris Putro, who set it up for us and put us on the bill. And actually, there's a huge favor by putting all 3 of us up first, so we could get out of there, because we had to be at the Comedy Store for another show shortly thereafter.
He really helped out.
He did. Cool guy.
Can we talk about the sound system?
Yeah.
Like I never trash shows that I'm on. Any show that's willing to have me, I'm willing to do it. But there was an echo on this microphone when you were on stage where you couldn't even kind of hear your own words. And hot bartender, she was pretty hot. That somebody told me she was 65.
Yeah, she was old.
Yeah, but she looked like she was 35.
Yeah.
And she was super sweet. But every time I would do a joke that was funny and like the crowd would laugh, she would yell out, "That's real funny," from the bar.
Oh yeah.
It kind of threw me off. But
she was the worst audience member. She
Yeah.
talked the entire time.
But it was all encouraging. Like, I couldn't shut her down because she was like, "You're hilarious." Like, what am I going to... Shut up. You know, like... But it was really good. I liked it. I liked it a lot. It definitely got us in the groove of doing a show because I don't think I did a show the night before. I think Friday was the last time I'd been on stage, and then it was Sunday at like 8 p.m., so I needed to get some stage time in before we started doing this whirlwind of like sets everywhere.
Yeah, and it was the perfect start.
Yeah.
Because we got a lot of time, and it was a real laid back room.
Yeah.
But everybody was super cool that was there, and so we punched that out. You do your set, do real well, and it gets the crowd like, "Oh shit, these guys are pretty funny." And in our heads, we're like, we're at this point, we're not nearly as good as everybody else we're going to see.
Yeah, that's what we thought.
Right. You did real well. Mike goes up, does real well. I go up, I do whatever.
No, you
and
did
then
good.
I'm sure I did. I just can't say it.
Yeah. I'll say it for you. You had a good set.
And then we stayed for, I think, 2 more people.
Yeah, a female comic. I can't think of her actually. No, a female comic. I can't think of her name.
Oh, that one dude. We stayed for this dude.
The dude with the long hair.
Yeah, because he was a real nice guy, and we were like, dude, we should stay.
He definitely has a style that I haven't really seen too much.
Yeah.
Like, I dug his stuff. But then after that, we had to get out of there. We should have stayed. There was another guy wearing a suit, carrying a briefcase. We should have stayed for his set because as we were only there for 3 days, and we're trying to do as many comedy locations as possible. Every place we went, he was there. And he'd always say hi, and then he'd always go, "You didn't stay for my set."
Yeah,
like he'd
but
always
he
make
wasn't
a point
from
to mention
America,
it.
so
No.
he had that accent, and he was huge.
Yeah, he was so much taller than me.
Giant black guy with dreadlocks.
In a suit,
Yeah.
but with like running shoes on, with the
Yes.
suit, wearing carrying a briefcase that might have had Marcellus Wallace's soul in it. I'm not sure, but he would just walk up and be like, "Hi guys," and we'd be like, "Hi," and he'd be like, "You didn't stay for my set," and then like we're like, "Okay,
Yeah.
we know." I'm
He
sorry.
was yelling at us as we're walking out.
Yeah.
He was like, "Where are you going? You need to listen to my comedy. You are bad people." That's not even his accent. I don't know what that was.
But he kept saying, "I do stand-up comedy from the stage." Like his first 20 seconds on stage, that's what he said repeatedly. So I was like, "Oh, this is probably a longer joke that we don't have time to stay for because we have to go." But I wish I would have stayed now.
Because we ended up seeing him.
Yeah, we
everywhere.
had to see him everywhere.
So we go straight from this show. Again, Chris, huge thank you to you, man.
Yeah.
And if you want us back, we'll do that show again, man. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is.
And stupid me, I'm from Los Angeles. I still don't know where things are. And as we're driving, I'm like, dude, where are all these people going?
Yeah.
You're like, Universal Studios. It's right there. I'm like, oh, shit, where are we?
Universal City, named after the studio.
It's so stupid. So then we go over to the Comedy Store, and we'll get into the whole store itself, I guess, towards the end.
Yeah.
But I will say it's just the most interesting place in the world. If you're a comic, it's the greatest place in the world.
It's my favorite place. It's so much my favorite place that I had a picture of me and my girlfriend as the background on my phone, and the second I got back to Phoenix, I switched it to the Comedy Store because
I love this.
I think
more.
occasionally you meet like a person, and even though you just barely met, you feel like you've been friends forever. Like that's how I felt when we first met. But when I walked in the Comedy Store, I felt like, oh, I just got home. Like I want to take my shoes off and just like hang out on my couch.
Yeah, totally.
Like, it felt like home.
So, all right. So we get to the Comedy Store. We see a couple people that we know. Say what's up to them, and then we had to run upstairs into the belly room, which there's 3 rooms in the Comedy Store. There's the original room that does shows from 9 p.m. till 2 a.m. every single night. It's paid regular headliners that do 15-minute sets, one after the other, all night.
Unless somebody pops in that needs to work on some stuff.
Yeah.
Tosh was there last night.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, Dan
Rock
Tosh
was there
showed
the
up.
other night again.
Rock's been there. Rock and Sarah Silverman showed up on Monday.
Well, we didn't have that.
Yeah.
And then the main room is where they do like big paid shows, not every night, and nothing was going on in there that Sunday night. And then the belly room is where they have all these crazy shows.
And belly room's upstairs.
Yes, belly room is upstairs, and it's smaller. It seats like how many would you say?
80.
Yeah, probably. And then there's like that. It's not a balcony, but it's a little walk up and you sit on the side.
Stairs to take you outside. Where comics hang out and smoke, and just that's pretty much where you're going to go and hang out. I spent a lot of time out there.
Yeah.
But it's upstairs, and the door is right next to the stage.
Yes. Okay. So we get there. We sat in the same spot every time. We'd always go up those stairs, and then it's like I don't know what to call it, dude. It's not a balcony. It's not anywhere near the height of a balcony. It's
like
higher seating.
The room just got lifted slightly. There's like a 5-stair, and then you're there.
Yeah. So, all right, so we sit there. Eric Marino runs the show. Another shout out to him for getting us on that show. But the 3 of us did it different. We all had to do different things.
Yeah. I don't think he had planned on us actually being, like, he didn't set aside spots for us. It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
So show goes on, and it's the Sunday night open mic in the belly room, and they're drawing names out of a hat, or out of a bucket. It was a bucket. And they're drawing these names, and so you don't know, there's a lot of comics there, you don't know if you're actually going to get a set. So they do what they call segments throughout, where they'll say, look, we're going to do a joke off, we're going to do this, tell us, they have a segment where they say, tell us why you should be getting a set, stuff like that. So the first one they did was the joke off. And I went up there, I raised my hand, and he picks 3 comics. The first comic did a joke, second comic did a joke. I did I did a joke as well, and they picked the best joke, and you automatically get a set. Now, he picked the best joke, and it was me, but I thought I would get a set later in the night. He would ask me what my name is. He didn't. Like, literally, the host and the other 2 comics just dash off the stage, and they're like, go. And I'm like, So I hadn't planned out what I was going to do, but I did my set. Felt really good. I got some decent laughs considering it was mostly comics that night in the crowd. I get off stage.
Well, let me explain this. L.A. mics and stage time and whatnot, you go when you're off. There's no bullshit in between. It's like we have a lot of people here. You're doing your stuff. You get the fuck off and get out of here.
And for the amount of stages in L.A., stage time is still kind of scarce. So when you get that opportunity to do it, you do it. If you're working out new stuff, you try whatever you wanted to try. You get off. There's no lollygagging. Like in Phoenix, they say you got 5 minutes, and you might do like 7 if you're feeling good. But that doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't happen there.
No.
Do you remember your joke from the joke?
The joke off is I did the cloudy.
Oh, okay, yeah. I love. So that one definitely got you. I can't remember it.
Yeah, you guys can definitely hear me do that joke if you ever come see me
at any club.
Any club in Phoenix.
So then you did your set, and that killed.
Yeah.
And then show keeps going on, and then Mike Did he just get called to go do a set?
No, he got picked for the Tell Us Why You Should Be Here.
Oh, I don't remember. I'm so stupid.
Yeah, so they had 3 comics come up, and they said, why should you be here? And one of them said,
that's right.
I drove from Austin. I noticed that a guy that was on stage that's from L.A., because I talked to him earlier, was wearing sandals, so I pointed that out to Mike. And I thought it was make it funny. It turns out it's not. They just want to know the best reason. So Mike's like, because I have to be on stage with this guy in sandals. And Eric, the host, is like, whoa, there's no reason to insult other people. And it just went the wrong way. So Mike didn't get the stage time. Actually, nobody on that, out of those 3 people did. They brought up 2 other comics and let them argue it out. And one of them got stage time. But Mike got on later. They just pulled his name.
Okay.
And that's what
right.
it was. They pulled his name.
Yeah, so and he did his set and did really well. So at this point, we're like, dude, first night here, we're doing really well. We're having a good time. This is why we came out here.
Yeah. Also, local, well, not local anymore. He lives in L.A., but a Phoenix comic named Mike Kennedy that had just moved out to L.A. a few months prior was there, and his name got pulled, and he did a set, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, so, and we're representing Phoenix comedy to the fullest. I mean, at this point, already people know. They're like, those are those Phoenix comics. Like, dude, they're real funny. Watch out for them.
Yeah.
And then, so the show keeps going on. I haven't gone up yet. And Eric's like, we got to end the show. For anybody that hasn't gone up on stage, like, just come up and tell one joke.
We do this thing called the Last Joke Contest.
Yeah.
Where any comic that wants to, if you didn't get on stage, come up and tell a joke, and whoever the best joke is will get a set next week.
Right. So I'm in the middle of the line, I guess.
Yeah, there's like 6 people in front of you and 12 people behind you.
Yeah, you're going to have to tell it to. I don't like talking about.
I know you don't like talking about yourself. Luckily, I like talking about you, and I like talking about me. So they go up, and the first comic goes up. The joke's not that good. The host, Eric's just like, get off the stage. The next comic goes up. That joke's not that good. He's like, get off the stage. Then this girl goes up. I wish I could remember her name. She had a really good joke. And he was like, stand over here. I think you got it. They bring up another comic, and they're like, she does her joke. It doesn't go over well. They're like, it's still you in the lead. He kept saying her name. I wish I remembered it. She was really funny. And then you get up there, and you do your joke, and Eric's just like, boom, done. Like, he was like, you got it. 3-minute set next week. None of the other people should even try, which I thought was awesome. And then you're like, I'm from Phoenix. I'm not going to be here next week. And he goes, okay, this is what we're going to do. Stand over in the corner. Every time somebody goes up and they bomb, you're going to come up and tell one more joke. So first person goes up. The joke wasn't funny. They're like, give it up for Kevin Elliott. You come back out. Do another joke. Then next person goes up. Wasn't funny. Kevin Elliott again came back up. On the third person, the person started their joke. You can tell they were uncomfortable. Maybe they were new and they weren't really used to being on stage or something, but the joke started really flat. And people in the crowd were like, Kevin Elliott, like they started saying your name, and you came up, you did a joke, and then Eric said, all right, that's enough. We can't be here all night. Give it up again for Kevin Elliott. Have a good night.
Yeah. So that was cool, man.
Yeah,
it was cool to hear those people want me back when they haven't even heard anybody else. One of the dudes in line, I remember as he's like waiting to come up, he starts talking shit to me.
Yeah.
And he's like, you stay there. And I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. Yeah. I don't even have a choice.
He told me to stay here. This is what I'm supposed to do.
And he's like, I'm going to take you out. And I said, all right. Like, I don't know. Let's just have fun, dude.
Won.
Yeah. And then he goes up there, like, the whole time, I'm, like, looking at him, picking stuff out. So I'm like, if he comes at me to roast, I'm just going to battle right back. And he goes up and tells some horseshit joke from his act that was terrible. And he didn't even look at me after that. He just walked right off stage. Like, Jesus Christ, you're making it too easy.
I loved it though because you were just standing there, like, all right, wait till I go up again.
Yeah,
that was good.
Keep coming, guys. I'm gonna murder you.
So then that was the end of the show. But they had a contest. Eric said he was going to pick the best set of the night, and he was going to give a little gift to him. In L.A., weed's pretty legal. Well, it's medicinal, but it's legal. And a little bit of information about me: I can't smoke marijuana. It freaks me out. I get real paranoid. So he looks around the room and he sees me. He gives me a head nod and he throws me the weed, which is horrible because I can't smoke weed. He just threw me $60 I can't use. But luckily, another comic that was with us that wasn't Kevin can smoke, and we got to talking, and he was like, just give it to me. I'm like, no, I want it. So we get back to the hotel, and me and Mike were going to alternate on one of the beds, and then Mike's like, look, trade you for the weed, for the bed, and I was like, yeah, not a problem. The next...
that's a hard sell, you know?
Yeah. Hey, trade you for that thing you don't even want for the thing that you do want. Okay. That's like him going, I see you have mud in your backyard. I'll give you gold. Do you want... And I'm like, I guess so.
Yeah, whatever.
But it was fantastic. He did take both of our blankets, though.
Yeah.
He went down... Originally, he had went down to the office, and he said, hey, can I get a cot? And they said no.
High expectations from Mike at that hotel.
Yeah. They said no. What do you think we are? Like somebody that cares about our customers? And there was no cot. But the next day, Monday morning, he goes, I got to get an iron. He went down and came back with an iron to iron his shirt.
Oh, yeah.
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 And he was saying, he goes, Kevin, it's all in how you talk to him. That's all you got to do. And I was like, well, how come you couldn't get a cot then? Like,
dude, he's like, I got to go get an iron. I'm like, dude, you really give a shit? Like, look at where we're at right now. He's like, I got to look good.
Yeah, when you walked out on the balcony, you just saw a wall. Like,
it's humid out. It'll take care of itself.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So, all right. So that Sunday night, real cool, a lot of fun, good starter at the set at Universal, and then we did really, really well at the Comedy Store, which for the first night was super key because we were going there every night, and they knew us right off the bat because we had done so well. So it wasn't trying to explain it again. They knew. They were like, hey, guys, come on in.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And it made me feel good because that's probably one of the stages I've been the most nervous on. And it's rare for me to get nervous nowadays.
Yeah.
And just seeing, like, the OR, everything, I was like, oh, man, like, butterflies in my stomach, and I had a good set. So then I was like, oh, okay, I can do this.
Yeah. It's cool, man.
Yeah.
So Monday,
we wake up super early because you guys don't like to sleep. We went to sleep at like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday night, and then we woke up at like 8 a.m. Monday morning.
and Mike and I had been sitting there for 2 hours
already awake.
Like, dude, how long does this guy sleep?
Yeah. And I was just like, okay. And so we all shower and stuff. We went to Santa Monica Beach, which sounds cool. You know, it was fun. But if we're there to do stuff all night, we probably shouldn't get up at 8 a.m. and walk around in the heat all day. But we'll get to that.
Dude, that's so true. Yeah, so we're like, what should we do today? And I was like, Santa Monica's fun. We got time to kill. So let's go down to the 3rd Street Promenade and walk around. And there's always, like, crazy people and weird people and street performers. But then I realized it's fucking Monday at 11 o'clock.
There was still a lot of people, but there was no street performers.
No street performers at all. Nothing really going on at all.
Yep. We did see, okay, so there was a guy and a girl, and the girl was wearing like a pink dress, like a hot pink dress. She was hot. But everywhere we went, we would see her walking.
Yeah.
It was almost, she was walking ahead of us too, but it was almost like she was following us because we would lose sight of her and we'd go do our own thing, and then
she would
20
just
minutes
come
later,
up from nowhere.
she would walk right past us, and we were like, holy crap.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Literally everywhere. Because we covered a few miles of Santa Monica and drove to certain places, and she was still there every time.
When we were trying to park, she was, like, walking to her car, and we were like, whoa.
So we went to, after walking around 3rd Street, we went to the beach.
Yeah.
To just walk around. We were in no beach attire whatsoever.
No, not at all.
And then I had to take a shit, which always happens.
After you eat.
Yeah, God.
Every few hours.
Every few hours. It's clockwork. I'm just so gross.
At least you're regular.
Yeah, and now
sporadic.
I have a bit in my act.
Yeah.
So that was good. I was taking a shit in a public restroom, and some guy took a piss and then turned the light off, and it was fucking pitch black in the bathroom. And then some other guy came in and thought I was a weirdo taking a shit in bathrooms with the light off. So I've added that to my act, that little story.
Yeah, it works.
But so we're walking along the beach, and they've got, like, weird... It's not... Like, there's Muscle Beach with weights and all that stuff, but this didn't have weights. It was just, like, bars everywhere.
Yeah,
so you do pull-ups or...
It was like Gymnast Beach.
Yes, it was. So they had those rings, but they stretched across, kind of like American Gladiators rings, you know, when they
super
would swing
long
to go from one side to the other.
Chain, super long chain, but it's still like at the end of the chain you have a ring, but that's still like 6, 7, 8 feet in the air.
Yeah.
So you still have to jump to grab onto it, and you have to swing across. And I'm not the most active guy in the world. I'd never seen that before, but I was amazed. There was like a girl doing it, and like it's probably like 12 rings. Between each ring is probably 3, 4, 5 feet, and she was just swinging and spinning and like it. I think I'm gonna start working out just so I can do that the next time we're there. Like I don't even want to be in shape. I can still be my tubby self as long as I can swing those and make it one way. I don't even have to come back. If I just make it one way, I'll be fine. I want to do that. It's a goal.
So, and these people were crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, at first I'm like, there's no way anyone's making it from one side to the other. Not only did they all make it from one side to the other, they then swung back without touching the ground. Like,
they like reverse
ridiculous.
direction. Oh, I'm going to record it the next time I'm there, and I will put it up just for your podcast listeners.
Yeah,
because
and, hey,
it's amazing.
By the way, parking is a bitch, and everybody sucks at it. Mm-hmm. And we sat in that little parking lot for like a half an hour just waiting for an asshole to figure out how to park.
Yeah.
Like, they couldn't figure out how to get in the space.
He was too busy putting, like, salt or whatever on his hand so he could swing on those things later.
So that was our day. I mean, we went back because there was a mic. What was the first one that night? Was it the Nerd Melt?
Yeah, Nerd Melt.
And that was at like 5, I think, or something.
Show up at 4:30.
Yeah,
they draw at 5.
Yeah. So, and the way they do mics out there is, you write your name down, they put it in a bucket, and then they call out who's going up, and then that's it. There's nothing else.
Yeah, well, with Nerd Melt, I liked it the best because they called they were like, we're going to have 25 comics go up tonight, which still
Yeah, actually, that's true.
And
so,
they drew them all at first. No one else did that because everyone else, I think I figured out the store, the Improv, they all want you to buy drinks. So they want to keep you there as long as possible. So they're just like, hey, you might get called you might as well hang out. But Nerd Melt doesn't really sell alcohol. So they're just like, look, we're calling these 25 names.
Dude, they don't really sell anything except for maybe a snack.
Yeah, I bought a bottle of water. But like, and the Meltdown, which is the comic book store that Nerd Melt's a part of, sells awesome comic book stuff. Like,
It's a huge comic book store.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
But so they just called all the names out front, and then they were like, and here's 5 for next week that are guaranteed a spot. So I thought that was awesome because you could tell they're doing it strictly for like the love of the comedy.
Yeah.
Because they're like, we're not trying to sell any merch. There's no ticket cost. Like, we just want you guys to have stage time.
Mm-hmm. And so we're sitting there, and Hormos was there, and he actually got called first. Hormos Rashidi, real funny comedian. Owe him a big thanks too, because he set some things up for us while we were there. And great fucking guy, super nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And everybody was really nice. But then at this point, we're there and we start seeing the same faces.
Yeah.
So like, this is a lot like the grind of Phoenix, and we see the same guys going to the same places all the time. And we're also realizing that a lot of these guys, no offense, they're not nearly as good as we are. And it sounds conceited, but it's true. We were doing real well.
You hear like, oh, I'm a comic from L.A. You assume there's a certain level of greatness about them, because the only comics we get from L.A. here that are doing sets most of the time are people that are funny, that they've been doing it a while, they're established. But it made me realize, oh, there's dudes in L.A. that haven't quite grasped it either. And Phoenix, especially if you do a lot of open mics, you see people that maybe they're trying it out for the first time, or they've been doing it for a few months and they just haven't really figured out their style or something. And I thought, like, oh, but everybody in LA has got to be like the top of their class from wherever city they came from. But no, some of those dudes that haven't really figured it out, and by no means have I figured it out, but I feel like I got the basics down. Mm-hmm. And some of those guys didn't even have the basics down, and they're just like, yeah, I moved here. Like, I sold all my possessions and moved here for comedy. And I was like, I respect your dedication, but I'm not going to watch your stuff.
Well, and this is the great thing, guys. Comedy is comedy.
Yeah.
Even, it doesn't matter where you live. You're horseshit when you first start.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's super subjective. So, like, I might have been like, oh, I'm not digging this dude. But he might have, like, 200 people that are huge fans, or 200,000 people. He just needs to find that niche. Like, he needs to find those people that are like, oh, I really dig your stuff. It just wasn't me. And it sounds like I'm talking about someone in particular, and I'm not. I'm talking about a lot of people.
Yeah. No, it's true. And then, okay, so we don't get called for the 25 names. There was like 150 people that showed up.
Which makes, like, at one point I went, whoa, LA's tough. There's a ton of comics. But at another point I went, look at all these comics. That's awesome. Well,
and let's put this in perspective, too. Hormos performs at, like, the biggest clubs in the country.
Yeah.
And he's there at an open mic trying to get his name called.
So he can do some new stuff.
Yeah.
And work some things out.
And it wasn't like he was the only one. I mean, there was a lot of recognizable guys that we've worked with.
Yeah, that are just there. Like, they're just like, I just need this 3 minutes because I got this new bit I want to work out.
Yeah, and so that's the other aspect of it, too. It's like, you see these really, really good established comics, and they're still working out material, and they're grinding just the same as everybody else, which is cool, and totally respectable.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so they called the names. We don't get called, which, again, the cool thing, the show hasn't started, but we already know we're not going up, so we take off immediately. So does 125 other comics.
Yeah, the host of Nerd Melt actually said, for everyone that didn't get a spot, good luck finding stage time tonight, which I thought was awesome. Because he was like, I don't expect you guys to hang out. Go get stage time.
Yeah, which that's awesome. You don't get that anywhere.
No.
So we went immediately over to the Comedy Store. We're like, all right, tonight we didn't get called over at Nerd Melt. Let's just hang out at the Comedy Store
the
tonight.
Comedy Store had the potluck, and they had like a few things going on. So we definitely wanted to get there early.
Yeah.
And we had timed it out where we were like, oh, if we don't get called at Nerd Melt, we can make it and sign up for the potluck and hopefully get that.
Yes. And Abby was working.
Yeah.
He opened up the bar outside.
What up, Abby?
Yep. Abby Roberts. Shout out to you. Cool dude. Hilarious
Incredible comic.
And great guy.
Yeah. And he has a nice cigarette holder that I wish I had. I gotta get one of those.
He's very like 1950s-ish in a way.
He's got like this crazy like style about him. Like you can't even say there's like you can't even say like it's all 1950s because there's some like modern stuff mixed in. Like he's an individual.
Yeah.
I love
and
him.
Abby, I'd love to get him in here next time he's in Phoenix because he's from Canada, moved to New York,
then moved
to LA, all for comedy. I mean that was his gig.
Yeah.
So if you go to the Comedy Store, anybody find Abby, say what's up, tell him we sent you.
Yeah, especially during happy hour. He's working the patio bar. He's the bartender. He's amazing.
Yeah, and then he's a comic.
And he's a comic, too.
So we go
that's
over
one of the
there.
things about the Comedy Store. For people that don't know, most of the people that work there are also comics.
Yeah, they work there to get stage time there.
Yeah, not only to get stage time, but Comedy Store will say, like, hey, we'll pay you something to work here. Just because when you move to LA, it's hard and you're struggling, so you'll take all the money you can get from anywhere.
Yeah, and as a new comic, dude, you want that job.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You will do anything to get that job at the Comedy Store.
For friends and family night.
It's awesome. Okay, so we go over there. There's already like 100 people on the patio waiting to sign up. And we're like, dude, they only picked 16. But whatever. We're here all night. Doesn't matter. If we get called, we get called. If we don't, we don't.
Yep.
Then this guy.
And we saw Briefcase. He was like,
yeah,
what
Briefcase guy was there.
You didn't look at my act. You didn't watch my act. I love Briefcase. Don't get me wrong.
So, yeah, I don't know. He turned out to be a nice guy.
Yeah, I wish I knew his name.
So they go to sign. We're just hanging out with Abby by the bar. Which is on one side of the patio. Most of the people are on the other side of the patio because it's usually where they throw the list down. Just so happened we were in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, because they brought the list right over and put it right in front of us.
Yeah, so we go, throw all three of our names down, and then just call it. We're like, all right, now we fucking wait it out.
Now we start drinking.
Yeah. And then Kill Tony is that night, too, which is a podcast.
Hosted by Tony Hinchcliffe. The basic rundown is Tony Hinchcliffe, Brian Redband do this podcast in the belly room. For the people that couldn't get on the potluck, you can put your name in their bucket. They'll pull your name or somebody's name. They get a minute to do a minute-long set. They usually have two special guests with them and an Iron Patriot, which is a comic dressed as Iron Man to be security. And after you do your minute, they'll give you little critiques and advice on what you can do to make it better. Or if they like it, they'll just ask you questions. And it's a great podcast. Especially if you want to see the craziness of LA sometimes. Like, there's some people on there that are just psychos, but it's random. It's an equal opportunity employer. So they'll straight up pull a crazy person's name out that only has 2 letters for his name, and then he gets to get up and act like he's on coke and crazy, and then we get to run into him at a pizza place later. But we'll get to that.
You know what, too? That first night, Sean K., the redhead afro, we met him that night. And we
shout out to Sean K. You creeped me out a bunch, but it was cool seeing you, man.
He's so creepy, but super nice and such a cool guy.
Reminisce1 on Twitter.
Is that his name?
Yeah, at Reminisce1.
Yeah, follow him. Reminisce1.
He might
I think he's following me.
Yeah, he might wear your face. At some point, like he might put somebody's.
He's 21. I thought he was so much older.
I thought he was like 14. He's got that afro and like the sideburns. Like he looks like he stepped out of of Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah,
like,
white guy, red hair, afro, talks black, small, like short and real thin. But dude, such a cool, nice guy.
Yeah, he's so nice. He's not nice enough for us to pick him up on the way home one night. We saw him walking. I was gonna offer him a piece of my Chick-fil-A, or I was eating a sundae and I was going to give him some of it.
Goddamn, Mike.
Yeah.
Hold on. We'll do all that stuff. That was
so
that night.
We're on the patio signing up for Kill Tony and the potluck.
Yeah, but I don't want to sign up for Kill Tony. Tony and I don't like each other, and I just don't want to do his thing.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But I want to, because
Rob wants too bad.
And I really wanted to be on that podcast.
Yeah. Rob wants too bad. And I look at the list, and there's like 20 people on it, so I'm like, well, our chances of getting on are much better. So Mike and I put our names down there to just go on for the hell of it. All right.
And I put my name on because that's what I wanted to do. Oh, but it's happy hour, and drinks at any comedy club are going to be a little bit more expensive than what most people are used to. The Comedy Store is no different. But happy hour, it's buy one beer, get one free. So we were imbibing quite a bit.
We took advantage of the happy hour.
Because it was only 2 hours long, and we were just
that was my problem.
Yes, I also had a similar problem.
I drink much faster than most people.
Yeah, you do.
I don't know why, I just do. And when I'm sitting there talking to a bunch of people and I'm excited, I don't pay attention.
And especially when, because to get the buy one, get one, you have to go up there and get them both at the same time. So you constantly had 2 beers. So normally you can regulate your drinking by going you drink fast, but then you're like, oh, I got to go grab another beer.
Yeah.
But when one's sitting right there, you're just like, boom, boom, got to grab another beer.
And they're like, last call for happy hour, and I'm like, shit, I'm halfway done with one. I have another one. I got to take advantage of this price.
Let's get 2 more
Give
beers.
me 2 more. Since I drink fast enough, they're not going to be warm by the time I get to that 4th one.
Yeah.
And then I'm sitting there thinking about, I'm like, damn, that's 4 beers. I've already had a couple.
Yeah.
But I didn't even think about it. I'm sitting there laughing, talking, having a good time with everybody, socially drinking, which is acceptable.
Yep, which is acceptable. Saw Jared Campbell, too. Jared Campbell is from Denver. He's out here a lot in Phoenix, but he was out in L.A. at first. So Jared Campbell scared me. We had met each other a few times doing shows out here, and I recognized him, but I didn't. He's a very strong black man. And when I was signing up for the potluck, he looked at me, and now I realize it's a look of, hey, I might know that dude. But at the time, I thought it was I'm going to murder that guy. I thought he had talked to Briefcase, and they were discussing how I didn't see the set, and he was going to murder me about it. So I'm just I keep my eye on him because I'm he looks familiar, but he might also be murderer. So then I realize, I know where I know him from, and I walk over, and I'm like, Jared, we did a show here and there. And he's like, oh, hey. He's like, I knew I recognized you. But so we run into that. That's what I love about comedy. People that you might have done a show with 6-8 months ago, you just see them. When you're in L.A., you just kind of run into them. You're and it's just you guys never left. You're just talking and bullshitting again.
Exactly,
the first time.
Like Jason Collins when he showed up. We had seen him a few weeks before, but didn't even really hang out all that much. Just one night and bullshit talk. And then we're out there. He's like, oh, what's up, man? What are you doing out here? Where are you going? And he's like, dude, if you can't get a mic, go over to the Improv. I was just over there. Tell him I sent you. We're like, all right, cool. That's awesome. Thanks, man. We didn't go. No. But regardless, not that night. So the potluck thing starts. We start watching the comics go up and do their open mic sets.
In the original room.
Yeah, in the original room, which is cool. It's just cool to be up on that stage doing it. We're watching them, whatever. Then Kill Tony starts. We're like, we got a better chance, and at least our name might get called, so let's go check it out. Meanwhile, the whole time, I'm still drinking. I don't expect to get up at all.
No.
I think I even forgot I put my name in there.
You were drinking, and you said, I'm going to get tired any minute now. It's probably because you wake up at 6 a.m. But I looked at you and I said, man, you look a little tired, a little more than you normally look tired. And you were like, yeah, the exhaustion is going to kick in any minute now. So we're watching the show.
So we're watching the show, and it is exactly like Rob said. You get a minute, which is not a long time. If you're a storytelling comic, forget it. You can't do it. You just got to quick hit it. The 2 guests that were there were Chris Porter and
Elaine Krieger.
Yes.
Or Eleanor Krieger.
Eleanor
Kerrigan.
Something like that.
Yeah. She's incredibly funny, and she tours with Dice.
Yeah, so there you go. So the one guy that goes up, the fedora guy, is a fucking lunatic, dude.
Are you talking about GT?
Your friend, dude, yeah.
He's not my friend.
Yes, he is.
The guy sat next to me.
He's your friend. You guys talk all the time. Facebook instant message.
He's a Armenian dude that he was in a band. Even his Twitter's GT Music. That's how you can tell how serious he is about comedy, because he's still got his band Twitter, and he's a psychopath. He did his joke about incest, and the hosts, who are all headliners, all incredibly funny, said, like, hey, you need to settle down. You have too much energy on stage, which I've never heard before. But he did.
Though.
It creeped me out. My hands got clammy as soon as he got on stage and started yelling, and I never met this dude before. I had heard him on that podcast a few times. But instead of taking the advice like he should have and been like, well, you guys are professionals, I'll take it into consideration, he started yelling, no, time out, and then telling them they can't tell him. And then he started giving them advice on their sets, like on what they should do on stage. And that's when I knew the dude was a psychopath. That he was. Oh, I can't even describe how crazy this guy is. But all things said, not a horrible person.
No, nice guy.
Yeah, nice guy.
And then Sean K gets a set, and he's I don't know.
He gets up there like Barry White. And he's doing this bit about being cute, which is awesome. It's about how he doesn't have any game with girls, really. And it was good, but it was just real wordy. And they gave him advice. He took all that advice, and he was like, and he took it, handled the shit like a pro.
Yeah.
You know,
my favorite part of that bit is when he says they like to pet me or whatever.
Yeah.
Because you do. You look at him like, I want to pet that guy.
You do. His hair is just, and then afterwards they were like, do you smoke weed? And he was like, do you have the hairstyle of someone that smokes weed? And he goes, I don't, but my hair does. And I thought that was real clever for coming up on the spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they do their thing, and I'm like, 2 people that I've talked to have gotten on. I feel really good about myself getting on this show, which I've always wanted to be on. Since they've been doing this podcast for a year, and every episode I listen to it, I'm like, I really want to be on this show. So, like, one of my main goals when I was out in L.A. is to try to get on the show.
Yeah.
And I tried, but my name that did not happen.
So then Jared Campbell goes up.
What up, Jared?
And he did really well. He took that minute and just smashed it. He did awesome job. And the panel loved it, the whole thing. Again, I'm still drinking. I don't really want to be on the show. It's so stupid. So then,
and okay, right before I think you guys you're all aware by the context clues that he did get on the show. Right before they called his name, I looked at him, and he looked like he was about to fall asleep. I said, exhaustion hit, and he said, yep. And then they called his name.
They're like, the last comic, Kevin Elliott. And I was like, oh, what? Yeah. I'm not ready for this. I had nothing prepared. It was so bad. It was so unprofessional.
But it's a minute. Your first joke went over very well.
And the rest went downhill.
It did. At one point, and I feel like we can discuss this openly. I think if we can discuss our good sets, we can discuss when things don't go right. At one point, you looked up in the sky and to like the ceiling. I don't know if you were hoping like a light would shine down and tell you what to do. Like you went, oh, what's next?
Because I instantly forgot my second joke.
Yeah, you didn't know what you were going to do because you didn't plan it because you were like, oh, what's the chance of me getting on here? And then you started drinking and you forgot you had even signed up. So you were like, all right, well, Rob's going to get on or Mike's going to get on. I'm just here to watch. And then like Kevin Elliott, you're like, what? Oh, crap.
Damn it. So, yeah,
But you handled it like a pro. Like, you did your first joke, got a big laugh. You start your second joke and kind of freeze. And then once that wore off, you still, like, you did some stuff.
Put something together. Yeah. But it was not good. I mean, it was not, it was mumbly. It was just like fillers.
Yeah, it was
of me just going, so, you know, like, you know.
Hey, you know.
It was so bad.
And, like, you got the meow, which is the 1 minute mark, and you're like, all right, cool.
Yeah,
like,
that's it.
I saw the relief, like, okay, I'm good. All
yeah,
right.
after that, I was like, thank God. And then I douched it up as much as I could by trying to do bits with the panel afterwards.
Yeah, I like that you go, like, right in the middle of they were discussing something, you go, oh, I didn't do this one joke, and you started to do the joke. But
so stupid.
I was talking to Subcheck. We were talking about this on the way to Tucson. Shout out to Eric Subcheck, very funny comedian, and one of my best friends in comedy.
And refuses to come on this show.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't even have said his name.
Because that's why he won't come on.
I think he's on witness protection or something like that. But we were talking about it, and he said, because he listened to it, he's never listened to the podcast before, the Kill Tony podcast, and he was like, I'm going to listen to it, you know. He listened to it, and he did say at one point, because Tony goes, so you're single? And the way he said that, you said, yeah, dude, there's no need to hit on me.
Oh,
and then Chris Porter was like, yeah, dude, that came off creepy. Like, everybody was there. And then he tried to zing you back when he was like, how often do you let your son pick your kid, or pick your clothes? And you could have been like, oh, like, got embarrassed, but you're like, every day. And, like, you just were right there, and he was like, oh, you know?
Yeah.
So we both agree that was good.
The panel was better than the set, but it still was douchey. The other part I did like was when we talked about the school, like, I get tons of girls at elementary school, and Chris was
nobody
like,
realized there was pedophiles?
yeah, Chris was like, wait, we're talking about the parents, right? Or the moms. I was like, yeah.
And you're like, they can't complain because they don't know how it's supposed to be. And he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, because they've probably been divorced. They haven't had sex in a while. Like, and then he goes, wait, we're talking about the moms. And you're like, yeah, that's. I wasn't making a pedophile joke.
So, I mean, it was fun. I wish that I prepared. I was super embarrassed. And for anybody that goes back and listens to it, I am 100% embarrassed by it.
It's not a good barometer of your actual work.
Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, because it was garbage.
I will say what I wished. I wished I would have got on instead of you.
You should have just gone up, but then they'd give out my information.
Yeah.
I should have done that. Fucking, I'm an asshole. And then Jimmy Schubert came in.
Yeah.
Which is cool, man.
Shout out to Jimmy Schubert. Anybody listening to this, he's on Last Comic Standing. He was eliminated. Spoilers. It came on Thursday, and this isn't coming out until Sunday probably, so you should know that by now. You can vote for him to get him back in the finale to do a set still.
And do it, because he's hilarious.
Just look up Comic Comeback, all one word, and that'll guide you. You have to vote on Twitter. Please do it. He's an amazing comic, and he's a hell of a guy.
Yeah, so he came in. He said he wanted to do 2.5 minutes, and Tony was like, yeah, cool, man, come on in. He did like 7 minutes.
Yeah.
But it was pretty good material.
It was stuff he had written that day, and it already felt like it was super polished.
Yeah.
That's the level I want to be at one day. If I write something, I usually have to do it 10, 15 times before it's good.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Say it in my head 1,000,000 times. Then when I go on stage, it's still not right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I said it in my head. It doesn't come out the same. All right, so we hang out a little bit after the show, and then Mike was on a different eating schedule than me and Rob, and we would have dinner like regular dinner time, maybe a little bit early, but it was still in perfect amount of time from lunch to dinner where you'd be hungry.
Yeah.
Mike never ate at that time. He would eat at 2 o'clock in the morning on the drive home back to the hotel.
Well, as soon as the drive home hit, like, I don't know if like he just grew up getting like fast food on the way home or something, but he'd be like, nah, I'm not hungry, when it was like we were eating. And then we'd be like, you ready to get out of here? He'd be like, yeah, can we stop and like name some off the wall place every time? Like, it's not even like crazy, but it's just like, okay, I didn't remember seeing one of those on the way up here. But like, okay, on Monday night, going to Santa Monica, really like just getting up early and walking around all day, really tired of stuff. Like I was the dude the whole trip that was like, yeah, let's just hang out all night, you know?
Yeah.
Like I just wanted to have a good time. But like 10:30, 11 o'clock, you and Mike were talking. Like I walked up, I was drinking a beer and having a cigarette. I walked up and you guys were talking about like, yeah, I'm really tired. And
We left early that night.
You're like, I'm really tired too. And I went like, yeah, let's get out of here, because I was just like beat too.
And so, all right, so we're on our way back to the hotel. We're like 2 miles from the Comedy Store. We look over to the right, and there's Sean Kay walking home.
Just bobbing his head, enjoying himself. Oh, we skipped a part. We stopped at Chick-fil-A for Mike, and there was the guy working the window was a gay black man, which I thought was
100%.
Justice, because Chick-fil-A is such a bigoted company.
Yes.
And Mike got chicken. I got don't laugh like that. I got a Sunday because I was in the mood for a Sunday. So we're driving there. I'm eating my Sunday. I'm feeling good about life, you know. And we see Sean Kay, and I go, "Hey, is that Sean?" And Kevin goes, "Yeah."
You can't mistake that kid.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, should we offer him like some of the Sunday, or like should I offer him
a
something?
ride or something?
No, I said or something. And you're like, he might want to ride. And then like I rolled my window up. I was rolling it down to yell at him, and then I rolled it up, and I went, yeah, I'm not gonna yell at him. Like, and we just drove by. But when we saw him the next day, I did ask him, like, hey, were you walking down Sunset at, like, midnight? And he was like, I was heading home. He's, like, such a nice dude.
He's a super nice guy. I would love to get him on this show to talk to him. But he's also really weird.
I feel like he may be a time traveler.
Dude, I love him. Okay. So, Monday night ends. Whatever.
Yeah, we go home.
We go to bed.
The fuck out.
So not a bunch of sets or anything on Monday, but it was cool hanging out. The really cool thing is, when we got back to the Comedy Store that night, we walked up there, and they're just like, what's up, guys? How you doing? Great sets last night.
Yeah.
We're like, dude, it's people that work here. They've seen millions of comics They haven't seen us, and after one night of just all I did was tell a few jokes. I didn't even do a set. Rob tells his joke off, does his set. Mike does his 3-minute set, and everybody there remembers us and is like, oh, cool, you're back. Totally awesome, man. Yeah. Let me know when you're going up. I want to hear you again.
And Sunday was like, I got there and I felt at home, but I was still like, oh, can I go over here? Because, like, Comedy Store has 3, like, showrooms, but it has so many secret rooms and all kinds of stuff in it. And I was like, I don't know if I can go to this part. But, like, after having those good sets on Sunday, Monday I was just walking around. Like, I treated that place like it was my house.
Yeah. And so, all right. So Tuesday comes. This was the best night by far.
Yeah.
I mean, this was like the Super Bowl of nights.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't even remember what we did during the day. I know we took a nap.
We didn't do anything. We went to Denny's.
Oh, that's right. And then came back and took a nap.
Because I said, like, we were so tired. Like, and it's the last night we're in town. Let's make sure we do it right. And I was like, you want to get food? So we went to Denny's. Oh, and every morning we would go and get donuts for Mike. So this morning we were like, look, we're just going to go to Denny's. So we went to Denny's. We had some foods. Moon's over my hammy for myself. That's what I get. That girl gave Mike his drink and hurt his finger.
Yeah, his hangnail. Poor little hangnail.
And then we walked back, and then we were like, we're all going to take a nap. And we all took like naps.
A very exciting Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, but it did give us, like, we woke up, went out, we went and took showers, and then, like, time to go. Like, we felt great. We went to the Improv.
Yeah, went to the Hollywood Improv for their mic. Again, see all the same dudes, suit, briefcase guy there. Takes his time to actually talk to us this time.
Yeah, he was a really nice dude.
Really nice. Abby was there. He wanted to do a set. So we're hanging out, meet a couple other people. We go in there, same thing, sign up, throw your name in a bucket, hope you get picked. But this mic's only an hour long.
Yeah.
So the odds are not with you.
And they have people that they already planned doing sets that the Improv wanted to look at.
Yep. So they go through. Abby's name gets called, so he goes up and does his set. Funny stuff. He was working some new things out. But funny nonetheless. I mean, he was probably one of the better ones easily that went up during that time. Yeah. We don't get called, so we're like, all right, we're out. We had a show at 8 at the Lexington, which the Lexington's a nice place, cool stage, real cool setup. In one of the shittiest parts of Los Angeles.
Yeah, there was one street over. There's just a guy screaming.
Yeah,
nonstop.
It's
and
right
a bunch
by
of Vespas in the back.
It's right by Skid Row, which for anybody that doesn't know, don't know. Just don't go there. Yeah. But they have really good shows over there. Ed Galvez puts them up. Shout out to Ed. Thank you for getting us on the show.
For the stage time.
But this show is cool. So we've been doing our sets and our acts for so long and running through, these sets or whatnot. But this was a storytelling show, which is different. You don't do your act. You just tell this like a story. Something that happened to you that's either crazy, funny, weird, scary. Yeah. But in the end, can be looked back as funny. Yeah. So we go on there, and we're hanging out and drinking. Rob and I go to the back where there's just like an open area outside, and there's, I don't know, like 100 Vespas.
Awesome Vespas, too. It was a Vespa graveyard.
It really was. Like in one cage, there was probably 50 or 60 of them.
Stacked on top of each other.
It was real weird. So we're the first 3 that get to go, which, again, awesome. Thank you for getting us up first, because we got somewhere to be.
We were originally supposed to be on the 9 o'clock show. Which is just stand up, but we were like, look, we have to be to the store at a certain time, and they were like, all right, we're gonna put you on the 8 o'clock show. That's a storyteller show. And we're like, cool.
Yeah, which was awesome, man. I mean,
also,
he didn't have to do that.
Mike Dapper's cousin came out. Shout out to Ishmael.
Yeah, that was cool, dude. And I think it's a gay bar.
Yeah, yeah.
Not 100% sure.
I was gonna do a story about a guy trying to force me to kiss him, and I'm a straight man. And then I got there, and I was like, it kind of looks like a gay bar. Like, the refrigerator that holds all the cans of beer had rainbows all over it. They had a velvet neon sign that said, great leaders, Budweiser presents great leaders in history, and this was the African king, and he was just wearing a loincloth. They had a poster in the back that had 2 dudes in thongs, and they served hot dogs. So,
and that was it.
Yeah, so everything pointed to gay bar, but I asked somebody, and they were like, no, it's just kind of, we accept you as you are bar.
So it's a gay bar.
Yeah, so it's a gay bar.
Yeah.
So it made me a little nervous to do my story, because it's not like material I have planned. I was just going to tell a story about how this dude tried to force me to kiss him a few times, and then he punched me. And I felt nervous.
Yeah, but you did it, and it worked.
Yeah, I did it.
It worked. All the stories were hilarious.
Yeah,
But again, we did our 3, and then we bailed. Like, it's just, I'm sorry, everybody that's doing the shows after us. We would love to stay, but we can't.
Yeah.
We have to get to the next place. So we leave the Lexington literally as fast as we can. We ran to the car. We got the fuck out of the neighborhood, and thank God my car did not get stolen.
Or, like, urinated on.
Yeah, anything. So we head over to the Comedy Store. Tuesday night at the Comedy Store should be a weekly holiday.
Yeah.
It's the greatest night.
Off of work, and you should have Wednesday off of work so you can recover from Tuesday night.
Yeah.
It's probably the best experience I've ever had at a comedy club.
Yeah, so this is insane. I mean, we show up. We're on the 10:30 show. We know that already. Shout out to Brian Moses for hooking that up. Brian is awesome. Cool dude.
We're the only people guaranteed spots on that show.
Yeah.
Because
so
we
this
come out from Phoenix.
Yeah, so this is what happens. We get to the store. We walk in, and in the original room, comics sit in the back corner like every other club. You just have spots in the back corner. Pauly Shore is on stage first. And
damn it, Pauly Shore.
And Pauly just does his thing. I mean,
let me explain to you guys, if you haven't seen Pauly Shore in a while, which
you haven't.
He owns the Comedy Store, so I can't really, I can say bad shit about him. Fuck it. But like, I love his venue, and I want to be a regular there one day, so I'll try to be kind of nice. But he was wearing a Spurs hat with a gray, like a big puffy gray jacket, like something that you would see Method Man wearing, like 99, 2000, with a red shirt underneath it, and jeans. And it was like I don't know, because at first I didn't recognize it as him, and then I was like, oh shit, that's Pauly Shore.
Yeah.
And he was just up there making somebody in the crowd uncomfortable. And I'm not saying that's what he always does, but that's what he was doing.
That's what he was doing.
Yeah.
To this guy with 2 girls, and I think they were foreign.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't shut up. But Pauly was
guns.
instigating.
The dude sold guns. That's what he said. He owned a gun store.
And so Pauly gets off stage, and Whitney Cummings goes up next. But Whitney didn't know that Pauly had gone up.
Yeah.
So she goes up and she's like, God, the vibe in here is awful. What happened to you guys? And they're like, Pauly was just up. She's like, oh, shit.
She's like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. But then those people that Pauly was talking to, they wouldn't shut up.
No.
And Whitney finally took offense to it. Was like, get the fuck out of here. Like, you guys keep talking, and you're rooting for everybody else. Not like I'm doing grade A stuff, but you need to leave.
Yeah, Whitney literally came up after talking about, like, what's weird with the vibe. She said, I have no material. Yeah. I just filmed my special yesterday.
Which comes out on the 28th.
Yeah, check it out.
That's tomorrow.
Yeah, it is.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. And she was
yesterday when
from
this comes
scratch, and then she was, like, working some shit out, and this group wouldn't stop talking. And that makes sense why Pauly was talking to him. He was probably, like, trying to get them to shut up, too. And so she had him kick the fuck out.
Yeah. So they get kicked out. Other comics come up. Bobby Lee came up after her, and he was like going crazy, which Bobby Lee does. And then we step outside. We kept checking the belly room, which is where the 10:30 show was that we were doing. But the show that was in there before, it just ran really long. It was some foundation benefit show, but it just ran real long. And in the main room,
we had Laugh Mob Comedy Night. Give it up for Laugh Mob Comedy.
Dude, Laugh Mob Comedy is an all-black show, which for this part of the story is necessary to tell.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved the show a lot.
We lost Mike.
Not as much as Mike loved the show.
For anybody that doesn't know, Mike Dapper's a black guy. He's hilarious. And once there was that black show going on, we lost Mike.
He just kind of gravitated. But I did see throughout the night, jumping ahead a little bit, at the Laugh Mob door, because the door to the main room was just open and people were like hanging out like at the door. I saw a member of Jodeci. I don't know which one.
You did?
I didn't even know it was a member until someone was like, that's somebody from Jodeci. And I saw Don King.
No.
Don Only in America.
No way.
Yeah. He was wearing a King Entertainment jacket or King Productions or whatever, and he still had the crazy hair, but it was like combed down.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Okay. But we'll get back to that. So we're outside.
So Rob and I are outside. We're talking with 2 other comics on the patio, the back patio. So the parking lot's back there, and then comics just hang out in the back patio.
It's probably about 200 feet from the main room door.
If not more.
Yeah.
I mean, you shouldn't be able to hear the comedy that's going on in the main room.
No, not
from where
the
we
patio.
are. And we heard it real well.
Yeah.
This one woman was up on stage, and out of nowhere, what does she yell?
She goes, Daryl, take out the motherfucking trash.
Yeah,
like,
so-
super loud.
So we start laughing, and we're like, dude, it's guy code. We got to find Daryl and tell him to take out the trash. His woman's pissed.
Yeah.
We got to get him and tell him what's going on.
We're doing stuff like, you hear about Daryl? She cut him. He didn't get the trash out.
Take
and
that
stuff
trash
like that.
out. So finish the story,
Okay.
because you know it better than me.
So me, Kevin, I'm having a cigarette. These two comics, local guys. I wish I knew their names. One of them had amazing timing. We're just bullshitting about Daryl and life and comedy, and then Boom Shakalaka comes up. And for those that don't know, Boom Shakalaka is like an older gentleman, older lady man. That he's like a cross-dresser, but he doesn't cross-dress all the time. He's for gay rights. He might be schizophrenic. He just kind of hangs out at the Comedy Store. I think he's homeless, and people buy him beers, and like he's kind of like a mascot for the store.
Yeah.
He's not a comic per se, but he does get on stage occasionally, and so he just walks up between us and he goes, Juneteenth. And I'm like, what? And he's like, you guys know what Juneteenth is? Which I had no clue what Juneteenth
no, I don't
was.
even know what the fuck you said.
But and the thing is, I grew up in Texas. Turns out Juneteenth, when slaves were emancipated, they didn't let Texas know for a while. And a general rode into Texas and saw slaves working. And he goes, hey, you guys know you're free, right? And like let them go. I'm sure it's deeper than that, but that's what I caught from like 12 seconds on Wikipedia. So he's like, yeah. And he was wearing, and then I noticed he's wearing a shirt with a rebel flag on it that has a rainbow on top of it. And Gay Pride Week had just ended. And he's like, Juneteenth, he's telling me about it. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And then he goes, people can't get married to the ones they love. And I'm like, yeah, that sucks, dude. And he goes, people in factories, they're going to work, they're angry because they can't marry the ones they love, middle America. He's like, garbage man's not going to pick up the trash. And then right when he says that, one of the guys from L.A. goes, whoa, throws his hands in the air. And Boone stops and he goes, gotta talk to Daryl about the trash.
And we lost it,
yeah, because it had been 20 minutes since we were joking about it. And the timing was perfect. We all started laughing. We all like kind of turned in different directions and started laughing. And Boone just kind of looked at us like, as much as a schizophrenic man can look at someone and go like, you guys are crazy, and just walked off.
We got a crazy schizophrenic to look at us like we were crazy and walk away from a conversation.
Yeah.
So shit, that was funny, man. The timing was perfect. The fact that anybody brought up trash after that was fucking hilarious. Daryl, we hope you're doing all right, man.
Yeah, man. I hope you got that Glad taken care of, like the Glad safety bags.
All right, so then let's get to the show. 10:30 show, Tuesday night. Tuesday night up in the belly room at midnight is the roast battle, and that's where two paid regular guys or just big comics, headliner, whatever. They go up.
Neighbors, PDC. That was the main event.
They were the main event, and so they got stuff before that. But I mean, that's the main event where these two guys just go at each other, 1 minute apiece, 3 rounds, and it brings out everybody. I mean,
it's probably the hottest comedy show in LA right now.
Yeah, and so we're on the show right before it at 10:30, and Brian runs the show, Brian Moses. So we get there, and the room is already full. Like, it seats 80 to 100. There was probably already 150 people in the room. It was hot as shit, but it was jam-packed. So Moses goes up on stage. He's like, hey, I can't guarantee the people I talk to, I can't guarantee you spots tonight, except for the 3 dudes from Phoenix. You guys are coming up. So a couple guys go. Hormos comes and gets me. He's like, I'm gonna go up next, then I'll bring you up, and then you bring your guys up. And I was like, all right, cool. So then I'm looking around, I'm like, where the shit is Rob? I don't want him to miss his set, man. So I texted him, like, dude, we're going up pretty quick.
Yeah, I was on the little outside balcony, top stairs.
Yeah. So I told Mike, I'm like, I'm going to bring you up, you bring up Rob, because we don't know where he's at yet. But then we saw you coming, I was like, all right, thank God.
And the thing is, I looked at Kevin, and there's a sea of people between us.
Yeah. Oh, I kicked Sean K in the back on accident.
Yeah.
Coming down the stairs, I kicked him so hard. I felt so bad. I tripped as I was going down on somebody else, and he was sitting on the steps.
I tripped that night, too, and I
hit him.
spilled my drink on somebody. But we'll get to that. So I'm looking at Kevin, and I'm like, hey, who am I bringing up? And he goes, I'm bringing up Mike. Mike's bringing up you. Like, with this satisfied look on his face, like, you know the lineup now. And I'm like, no, I have to bring somebody up. Who is it? And he's like, fine, Brian. I don't know.
Yeah,
so I find Moses, and I'm like, who? And he's like, you're bringing up Sarah Simbani. And I'm like, all right, cool, because I remembered her from the night before. Her name was stuck in my head. Not saying I have a crush on her, but whatever. So,
all right. So, Hormos does his set, calls me up, I do mine, and it was like the perfect 3-minute set. I mean, every joke went perfect, segued nice, like it was just
Stage
total
movement,
hit.
everything was
everything was legit and on. Call Up Mike, his set, perfect. Everything legit, crushes. Calls Up Rob, everything perfect, dude. Like, segues, jokes, ending killed. And it was like, dude, Phoenix just tore this shit down. Because when they announced it, too, they even said the next 3 guys from Phoenix, give it up for them for coming out here. And we literally tore the stage apart with our jokes.
I mean, when I finished my joke, I got like this laughter, applause break mixture thing that was so loud I had to say Sarah's name like 3 times.
Yeah.
Because she couldn't hear me.
So, all right, so we do our stuff, the show goes on, and then it ends, and then the roast battle starts. And, I mean, they bring in a couple people that just kind of roast each other back and forth and blah, blah, blah. And then more people come in. Dude, there's like 200 at least in this small little room. The fire marshal would have just shut shit down if they were there. So, Jamar Neighbors.
Shout outs. Oh, man, Jamar Neighbors. He is on some other. Okay, so let me get to this part. So PDC is PDC, you know, the man, the myth, the legend. Spent some time in prison, grew up in Ohio, which is just like prison. Jamar Neighbors, comedian, I think he's from Compton. He wears a lot of Compton-related shit. And he's part of this thing called the Negro Wave. And I guess they got their start, I've been asking around, they got their start as just 4 or 5 black comics that would sit on right next to the stage during the roast, and they would do a wave every time they got a funny, like somebody did a funny joke against the other person. But it's expanded. So PDC comes out, they bring him out, you know, they list how many times he's won and lost. Give it up for PDC, comes out to some music, you know, and I was already like, I'm digging this.
Yeah.
Then they bring Jamar out. Jamar comes out like riding on the shoulders of the wave. And the wave has a new member. It might be an old member. I don't know. I'm not really into the history that much. But it's Jeremiah Watkins. And it was Jeremiah Watkins, right? Yeah. And he's wearing a pair of Dickie pants, a tall tee, and a do-rag. And for those that don't know, Jeremiah Watkins, he looks more like a white surfer kid.
Yeah.
So
he looked a lot like that night. He looked like Jamie Kennedy from Malibu's Most Wanted.
But they dropped Jamar on the stage. He comes out to turn down for what? Jamar rips his shirt open. Yeah. He's just a ripped dude. Jeremiah starts spraying him down with water to make him glisten. And from that point on, pandemonium. Yeah. And it was amazing.
Dude, and so the judges, they have judges. It was, who was it? Moshe Kasher,
Mo Mandel, Tony Hinchcliffe, and Jeff Ross.
No, Tony wasn't a judge that night. He was just there.
Oh, he was hanging out.
Shit, who was it?
Ian Edwards was there, too,
yeah,
but he wasn't
was
a judge.
In there.
Oh, Sebastian.
Thank you. Yeah, Sebastian Maniscalco, and then Jeff Ross is always there every time as the roast general. Oh. And he calls the ties or whatever. So they go at it, dude. It's so funny. They're given a month to come up with material on each other, and they come up with everything about each other. I mean, some jokes are stupid, but it's hilarious.
Super personal.
Yeah, they get super personal. This crowd is going crazy. You can't move. I mean, everybody's in there jam-packed. It's like Jeff Dye was in there. Yeah. Just anybody that you could think of was there. And a lot of guys that you would think of couldn't even get in.
And then, like, the crowd was also, like, audience members. Like, it wasn't comics. It was, like, straight up, like, before, this is how the show we were on before the roast is pretty much, it's like an open mic, you know, but normally with an open mic you get there and it's mostly comics and like you do your stuff. When we went up to go up before the show portion that we were on started, Brian said, hey, you guys can come in a minute, we have to seat the audience first. And that's not something that happens normally at an open mic. It was like audience members.
And it was packed.
Yeah. There was like 200 people in that small ass room. That was super hot.
Yeah, but it was awesome, man. Because when you got a laugh, it was like a roar of laughing.
And then, like watching the roast, I felt like I was at a concert because I was like just pushed up against somebody else.
So then, who did Jamar win?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he completely retired. Remember that? He was like, I'm part of the Negro Wave. I'm done. No more roasting for me. I'm just gonna go back to being a wave member.
So anyway, he won. It was close though.
Yeah,
it went back and forth, and then Sebastian kept voting for Jamar because of just the antics that all the people were doing to him.
Yeah, every time he got a good joke, he would get sprayed down.
And Jeremiah would run out.
Jeremiah would run out, and then every time PDC would have a good joke, Jeremiah would hop up on stage and throw like glitter. It was awesome.
It was something that you do not see anywhere else.
My words don't describe it. I really wish it was on tape.
Yeah, and they're trying to put it on TV.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah, well, you can put it on Comedy
like
Central
HBO
after
or
1 a.m.
something. Yeah, that's
You're
true.
allowed to curse after 1 a.m. now,
That's
I guess.
true. So yeah, that'd be cool. Anyway, so that's in the works. They're trying, and please, I hope it does.
Yeah.
Because it's we can describe it for hours. It will never do it justice.
No.
It was incredible.
Perfect way to end the night.
Yeah, and so after that ends, everybody just goes downstairs in the patios and hangs out. And
We're drinking. We're watching people in the OR. Like, it was so good.
yeah, man, and you're talking with guys that, as far as people that work in the entertainment industry, comics are the most accessible.
Yeah.
And it proved that night. Everybody you wanted to see and talk to was there, and they were all cool as shit, talking, hanging out, and it was. I mean, that was the best night.
It was
by far.
It was. Made me feel good about my life.
Yeah. I mean, and then we came back to Arizona the next day, and
I
we're like,
felt
dude, we
shitty
got to
about
get
all
back out there.
Yeah.
Did we miss anything?
No, that's it.
Yeah?
Oh, next day we drove home.
Yeah, and that was it. We drove home. We got home really fast.
Yeah,
that was kind of it. So I don't know. I hope you guys enjoyed the stories.
The LA rundown.
Yeah, and Rob, thanks for coming in. Mike, we miss you.
Yeah.
But dude, it was an experience nonetheless. We're going to be doing it again here pretty soon, and we'll keep everybody informed. But I mean, this is the grind that comics go on, man, and it's something that you need to do.
I love it and I hate it so much.
If you're a comic, no matter where you're at, go to LA for even just a few days like we did.
Yeah.
It will make you so much stronger as a comedian, and you'll learn so much.
Yeah.
And not just about your set, but about you yourself and where you kind of stand, what you need to do. So, anyways, man, we got to get out of here because we got to get to a club to do comedy.
Go do a set.
So, guys, thank you guys for listening. Appropriately Inappropriate. Again, I'm Kevin Elliott. Rob Maybe. Where can they find you on Twitter?
Rob Maybe, Maebe.
All right.
All right.
Go find him. Follow him. He's a funny dude. Thank you for coming. And we are out of here. Good night.
Peace.
This has been another great presentation by the 4-Eyed Radio Network. You can find more information at 4eyedradio.com.